Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the LeadForward Summit 2025. My name is Shilpa Vora, and I'll be your session moderator for today. I'm a volunteer in the Mentoring Club. We are thrilled to have you join us for this exciting event dedicated to inspiring leaders through mentorship. Some housekeeping rules. Please keep your microphone muted unless instructed to speak to minimize background noise. The chat is enabled. Feel free to ask questions in the chat throughout the session. Our workshop leader will address them as appropriate. This session is Overcoming Imposter Syndrome. To start off, it's my pleasure to introduce our workshop leader, Sonya Sigler, business strategy consultant, executive coach, and author. Sonya, please take it away.
Thank you, Shilpa. I'm super excited to address everybody today. I'm going to share my slides. I am an executive leadership coach and business strategy consultant. I've been a lawyer for 30 years, and I've spent my career in-house and I've spent it at startups. So I have a good base of experience, and I'm a longtime mentor with the Mentoring Club, I think since the beginning with Liesel. So I'm super excited she asked me to do this today. I'm going to share my slides with you. So before we get started, I want to reiterate one thing that Shilpa said. I want you to ask questions as we go along. I want you to get your questions answered. I don't want you to be wondering. So please ask as we go along. Just put those in the chat. And then second, I want you to check any self-limiting beliefs at the door or out of the room, out of your mind. So what we're going to do today is some work on ourselves, and I'm going to give you some tools to actually overcome imposter syndrome when it strikes, because it does for most everyone. So if you hear any of those self-doubts, like I can't, or I should, or it's too far away, or my spouse isn't support, whatever those excuses or those negative thoughts are, let them go. Check them at the door, come in, let's have a good chat today. So a little bit about me and how I started on the topic of imposter syndrome. I've written a couple books, and let me tell you, sitting down to write a book, you definitely have imposter syndrome. So this workshop today is based on a couple things in my books, Welcome to the Next Level, which is really about how do you share your value, like articulate it and share it with others. So that's one thing. And then what's next for my career is really about, I don't want to be doing this career anymore, but I don't know what I want to do. So how do I figure that out? And how do I dig through those layers to figure that out? And when you are kind of burning down the house and reinventing yourself, those self-doubts can creep in. So we're going to address that in a couple different ways. So let's get started. So our agenda today is pretty simple. I'm going to explain what imposter syndrome is. You can assess yourself and see if you have it or you experience it. We are going to chat a little bit about how you feel when it does strike. Like, what are those feelings? What are those situations that kind of bring it on? And then we're going to talk about, why do I need to overcome imposter syndrome? And then we're going to chat about how you can overcome it. And we're going to chat through some tools. And I'm going to give you two specific ones that we're actually going to work through. And we have, what, 45 minutes today? So I've truncated one of those tools that we're going to work ourselves through. And the workshop that I'm going to do in June will explore these in more detail. So if you like what we're doing today, be sure to sign up for that workshop in June. Let's go. So what is imposter syndrome? It's when you think that you may be a fraud and that any minute someone is going to find out and that it will all be taken away from you, whatever that it is for you. So the fraud police are going to show up and say, you don't know what you're doing. So we feel like we're not worthy of our own success. We feel that our ideas and thoughts aren't even worthwhile, that we're not worthy, that we're not enough. So that's kind of the feeling of what imposter syndrome is. So I think it strikes people as, all of my success has kind of been through luck, not because of something I did. And then our thoughts and ideas that we're not good enough can kind of creep in and take over. So that's really what imposter syndrome is. If you feel like a fraud, a lot of people feel like they're alone. And I use this meme because every single person has the same thought bubble. All these people really have it together, and I still have no idea what's going on. So everyone's kind of got that same feeling. We just don't know it about each other. So that feeling that you're alone, think again. We're all kind of in the same boat. So everyone feels this from time to time. And I'm going to give you a couple examples. So Maya Angelou, even after writing all her books and winning awards, she couldn't escape that nagging feeling that she hadn't earned her accomplishments. She said, I've run a game on everyone and they're going to find out. Albert Einstein, genius, he even said he saw himself as an involuntary swindler and someone whose work didn't deserve the attention it had received. Can you believe that? Albert Einstein. Barbara Streisand, super talented, amazing performer. She had paralyzing stage fright, even with such an amazing talent. So it's pervasive and can strike anyone. And here's the little secret: it can strike men and women. It's not just about women. So this is my friend Craig Ball. He's an attorney. He's been around the block. He said after 2,000 times standing at a podium confidently, I still feel like a fraud. So this is not just women, it's men and women. So I want to give one more example. I'm a certified Vistage speaker, and I was speaking to a group of CEOs, and they're like, what do you mean imposter syndrome? And I said, feeling like a fraud. They don't know what you're doing. He's like, oh, you mean how I feel every day as CEO running my own business? So yes, it's men and women. So I just want to dispel the myth that it strikes women. It's men and women, and it's pervasive. I've given this talk and other talks all over the world, and it's pervasive worldwide. So I don't want you to think it's just you, just where you are. It's everyone, and it's pervasive. So let's chat for a minute of, do you have it? So I'm going to ask a series of questions, and yeah, you can just come along, and if you say yes to any of these, you're probably experiencing it or you have experienced it. So I admire people who achieve what they aspire to, but I don't think I belong in their ranks. So that feeling of not belonging. I feel like a lot of my successes were a matter of luck. So if you feel like your actions didn't have anything to do with it and it was all a matter of luck, then maybe you're experiencing imposter syndrome. If you feel uncomfortable or foolish describing your achievements, that takes practice. It takes 7 times of saying it to feel comfortable. So any of those 6 times saying it before you get to that 7th time, it may feel like you're experiencing imposter syndrome. When you're around others in your field, do you feel like they deserve to be there more than you do? Or you worry that people will realize you don't know very much about something? Or when people praise you, do you feel like you're getting away with something? All of these little feelings can really indicate imposter syndrome. What does it actually feel like? I'm going to give you a minute just to think about what it feels like. And I'm going to close one of these other windows. Okay. This is kind of a flow chart I've made just so that you can see how this cycle, you could get stuck in this cycle and it can repeat itself. So you get a work project or you get an assignment and you worry. Self-doubt creeps in, anxiety creeps up. You fall into one of 2 categories or both. You over-prepare or you procrastinate. I most likely fall into the procrastination until that deadline is looming, and then I over-prepare. And then I'm exhausted, and then I wonder why. Oh, I had this sense of relief, and now I got the next one. So it's this perpetual cycle. I want you just to take a second and write down what it feels like for you. So how does it feel? What does it feel like for you? Do you feel that anxiety? Do you step into that over preparedness? Do you step into that procrastination? And if you feel like sharing, you can go ahead and share in the chat window. But I know I feel anxious. I get shallow breath. Uh, and then I really have to work hard to calm down and then realize I know what I'm doing. Just start somewhere, take one little step, and then it will be easier after that. I'll give you one example. When I was running a team, I was hired specifically at this one company to take 3 teams, morph them into one, and then build a world-class search and retrieval team using AI tools before they were all exciting. And part of that was I got a corner office, and one of the founders vacated the corner office for me to sit in it. And I was one of the highest paid employees outside of the sales team. I made more than the CEO and the other founder. And when he gave me his corner office, I was like, oh, I don't deserve to be here. All those feelings, all that self-doubt crept right back in. But then I had to realize they hired me to consolidate these teams. They hired me because one of their customers recommended me. They hired me because I had the expertise they did not have. They were trying to get into an industry that they didn't have any experience in, and I had 9 years in that industry. So all those thoughts, I had to just keep reeling them back in. Um, an engineer, I'll give you an example of an engineer I know. Um, the imposter syndrome for me is not feeling inferior or not deserving, but rather experiencing difficulties when transitioning from engineering to a business owner and experiencing that distrust or doubt coming from others because they were an engineer rather than, on the business side. So these cycles can start for any number of reasons. So I just want to have you pinpoint what it feels like for you when you're experiencing this. So Olivia said, I feel overwhelmed. Absolutely. So that I don't know where to start and feeling overwhelmed and I don't know which step to take first, that absolutely can be one of the feelings that goes along with imposter syndrome. So let's see, let's go. I want to talk about the different types of imposter syndrome that can strike. Now, I don't think everybody fits into one of these categories really nicely. I think that how you experience it could be one of these, both of these, all of these, or even something different. So I'm just going to quickly explain each of these and give you a little more detail about what these mean. So perfectionists. So rather than focus on their strengths, they tend to focus on the mistakes they make. So I'm a queen at that. I have to really get over that. About 10 years ago, I tried to let go of perfectionism and I have varying degrees of success about it. The superwoman, superhero, they feel inferior to their peers and they tend to push themselves to work harder than anyone else to measure up. The natural genius. They set the bar really high and then when they don't succeed on their first try, they feel shame or they give up. I know my middle son is like that. He likes to have it all figured out before he takes that first step. The soloist, they don't like to ask for help. How many people like to ask for help? Because they feel it's a sign of weakness or inadequacy. Yeah. So let's see, the next one, the expert. They're always trying to learn more because they fear being exposed as inexperienced or unknowledgeable. So what kind of these do you feel? I personally feel the perfectionist and the natural genius a lot. And then I move into superwoman space and try to do everything all at once. So yeah, superwoman, natural genius. Yeah, I think all of these are going to crop up in some time, sometime in here. So let's talk a little bit about when you felt it. So yeah, natural genius. Yeah, perfectionist. Yeah, all of these can creep in, but I know the perfectionist and natural genius are the two that I kind of feel the most. Let's chat a little bit about when you felt this, because this is really the key, and we'll um, be able to address it with these tools better. So I told you about the corner office. Another one, I was clerking for a judge. And when you work with clerks that have been there for 20, 30 years and you're coming in as a law student. So first of all, I'm new, I haven't even finished through, law school. I felt that imposter syndrome. Like, how did I get here? How did I get to clerk for a judge? So all of those things, it was like one of those dreams. And I clerked for the 6th District Court of Appeals in San Jose. And when I'd show up to the courtroom, I can't believe they let me in. They let me in through the judge's chambers, all of that. So that is like walking into that building when I felt it. Um, I know early on in my career, sitting around a big table, we're all negotiating deals, mergers and acquisitions. So a lot of lawyers, a lot of business people sitting around that table. I felt a fear of speaking up. You wouldn't think that about me now that I speak for a living, but I did feel that for, I would say, the first 5 years of my career. I felt like speaking up in a meeting, I'll just keep my mouth shut. Had a seat at the table, but didn't use my microphone and didn't speak up. So that I know was one of the times, and it was kind of pervasive, like I said, through the first 5 years of my career that I did not speak up in meetings. Another example of when I was living in Germany and I was going to school there. It was my last year in high school in the US, and it was year 12 in the German school. And I was taking German class. And when you are a native speaker and you have to take German class, it's like taking English in living in the United States. You're like, oh, I'll pay attention or I'll write my paper or whatever. But when I was in that German class and it was talking about grammar, it was stuff I had learned in the US German classes. So I knew the answer, but I was like, oh, should I speak up? Like all these native speakers are all around me. Do I really know the answer? And I felt confident in that. So I actually did raise my hand and I gave the answer. And the teacher was like, oh my God, even the foreigner knows the answer. Why don't you, why don't you know the answer? So it was one of those moments where I chose to speak up. And it really showed that you do have a voice, you do have value. It doesn't matter where you sit on that continuum of, do you think you have all the answers? Do you think you have the right answers? So that was an example of when it did work out and I felt relief. So how does it feel? And then when have you felt it? So can you share in the chat window where you might have experienced this during the job search? Oh my God, our job search process is the worst. Interviews. Yep. Presenting ideas to senior leadership. Yes. New job, starting a new job. Yeah. Really setting the tone and getting started. Yeah. Um, okay, let's chat through. I want to talk now. Yeah, telling executives that there's serious issues with the company. Yeah, as a lawyer, I had that all the time because they have ideas. They have at startups, they want to do new things. It hasn't been done. You got to tell them the regulations that may make that a bad idea. Jail time doesn't look good on you. Like all kind of those answers. So all of those things, yeah, or that it's their fault. Yeah. We had an acquisition when I was in Intuit that it was a bad idea. And when we brought the due diligence and the answers to the executive team, there's like, we didn't ask for you to give your opinion about what kind of deal it is. And we're like, nope, we're just bringing you the information we uncovered. So it wasn't even an opinion about the deal itself. It was just, we're showing you what we've uncovered. And the people that you're dealing with on the other side don't meet your level of integrity that you espoused as a company value. So that was a hard message to deliver. So definitely, let's see. Yeah, presenting. Okay, great. Let's go on. So why do we need to overcome this? So why is this all important? Why are we having this discussion? If you don't ask for a raise or promotion, or you really have to step outside your comfort zone to do those things. And stepping outside your comfort zone is going to bring up those feelings of inadequacy and anxiety, everything we've talked about to this point. So it can lead to burnout because you're not getting a promotion or a raise. It can affect your relationships and it just can hold you back. So that's really the reason why we need to overcome it in the moment each and every time, is that we want to do the best we can for ourselves and we want to be our best self. So if you want that raise, you want that promotion, you want that new project, you want to succeed, we need to overcome imposter syndrome when it does set in. Just take a moment for a second and look at your personal situation and say, why do I need to overcome it? And if you want to share in the chat window, that's fine. If you want to keep it private, that's fine. I know I was really amazing at getting the job and selling myself to do that initially, but then I was terrible at doing the promotion or the raise side of things. So I know for me personally, it was for the raise and promotion side that I needed to sell myself better once I got inside the company. Really amazing at selling myself into a role, into a company. Pivoting to a new industry, pivoting to a new role, definitely is a reason to overcome what we're talking about today. Okay, like I said, we'll go deeper into these exercises in the workshop that's in June, but we're going to give you a couple tools right now. So how do I overcome this? So we've chatted about what it is, how we feel, when it could strike. Let's chat about the two tools for a second. We're going to talk about know your value and then remember your value. And then we're going to chat about how to change the conversation. Okay. So let's talk about the details of these. Let's start with the know your value exercise. Now, as I said, we're going to go into this much deeper in June. We have 3 hours to work on these. And this is one that's really important in terms of knowing your value and being able to articulate it. I said earlier, it takes 7 times of describing your accomplishments or yourself, 7 times before you're comfortable with it. We're going to use that workshop in June to practice. We're going to practice on each other. We're going to do a little homework and we're going to be able to answer this question really, really easily and quickly and comfortably. So when we talk about knowing your value, it's important because you don't want to be boring. You want to be memorable. And the reason you want to be memorable is because people hire people they like, and the people they like, they remember. So we're going to ask two questions: who are you and what have you done, to really understand your value. So as we do this shortened exercise, um, you're going to make a few notes. So either grab a pen and a paper or notes on your computer or phone. So grab that now if you don't already have that handy. And remember, at the beginning, I said, check your self-limiting beliefs at the door. I hope they're still there. I hope they have not crept in, because you want to leave them there. So we don't want those self-limiting beliefs to strike now, because this is the work that matters. And knowing our value is really important. So let's get started with this two-step exercise. And I don't want you freaking out about it, because it's pretty easy. So who are you? This very first step, we're going to answer a couple questions. So what are your, and I just put 5 on here. What are your 5 personality pluses? And this is all positive. This is good stuff. So I had um, I had a time where I needed to be able to describe myself. So I basically had an acquisition. I built a $25 million AI company, and sold it to Ernst& Young in 2011. As part of that, I sold myself out of a job. And so I had to find another job as general counsel and as chief operating officer. So I had to describe what I could do. I had to talk about myself, all those uncomfortable things. and and I had to find the words to do it. So instead of me trying to make up everything or me trying to pull that out of my brain, I asked several people to fill out this adjective survey, and I'll give you the list in just a minute. And when I asked my brother to do it, he's like, I don't see stubborn on this list. Where's stubborn? And I said, no, it's persistent. I'm persistent. So I want you to think of it as positive. So whatever the positive aspect of the trait is, I want you to think about that. Okay. And if you can't think of anything, list what others would say about you. So your boss, or your siblings, or your parents, or your friends, or whatever was on your last performance review. Okay. So I'm going to give you 1 minute. Here's the cheat sheet. Just try to write down at least 5. And so if everybody can just take a minute to write down 5 personality pluses and share the chat if you'd like. Okay, about 10 more seconds. And if you'd like to share, so calm, honest, funny, smart, Mo, yeah, I can attest to all those. What I wrote down was persistent, funny, and fun, because I think they're 2 different things. I'm a bitter ender. I'm always the last one to turn out the lights. Organizer of chaos. I have 3 boys, and I've been at startups for 20 years. So I would rather take everything out of the garage and reorganize it than do the dishes every night. I'm not into the repetitive tasks, but I like big, crazy, hairy projects. So organizer of chaos. Reliable, responsible. So back to that perfectionist tendency, the responsible, reliable person. That's me. Strong will, thought leader, collaborative, reliable, energetic. So I'll tell you a funny one about collaborative. So when I had about maybe 15 people fill this out from different walks of life. So from my volunteer activities, from prior jobs and colleagues to family, friends, I had them fill it out. And then I mapped everything onto a chart. And one of the words that came up that I did not expect. Okay. So if a word keeps coming up that people say for you and you don't think that about yourself, that can be a disconnect, and we'll take a little soul searching. So one of those words that came up that people said about me that I did not put on my list was collaborative, because I'm kind of I know what I'm doing, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to keep going until it's done. So people said I was collaborative, and I was like, oh, I got to do a little more digging and find out what they meant by that. And one of those things that came up was when I asked people, they said, I asked for their thoughts and I asked for their feedback. So they saw that as collaborative. And I saw that as I'm just trying to get all the requirements. Like, I want to understand the requirements of the work and the project. So wow, I really like this. Thoughtful, tenacious, yeah, nurturing. So these are important, okay? Because these are going to get you out of that mindset. When it's negative, you're going to remember these personality pluses. Okay, let's go on to the other step. So we're going to answer 2 questions, and we're going to do about a minute on each one of these. And I'll give you some examples. Let's start with the first one. What have you done? We're going to chat about career successes that you are most proud of. So it could be your current position, it could be a past job, it could be a volunteer position. I'll give you two examples. I mentioned the company I sold to Ernst& Young. I built a $25 million with a $25 million company without taking any outside investment. That is one of my career successes. Super proud of that. I did not do that alone. We had about 100 employees. So, but in the process, I did almost everything in terms of finance, customer service, client services. I did everything in the company but engineering. So I could articulate that now, but in the middle of that, I couldn't do it. So we're going to take a minute and talk about career successes. You're going to write them down, and you can share if you'd like. You don't have to share it, but if you're going to share it in the chat window. So take 1 minute. What career success or successes are you most proud of having accomplished? I do this along when I give the workshop, and I come up with something different every time. It's really fascinating. So one of the career successes I'm most proud of is I have put a contracts management database in place everywhere I've ever worked. And the one that I put in place at the company I mentioned, Catafora, that we sold to Ernst& Young, it was still in place 9 years later when we sold the company. So I was really proud of having thought that through and having had it built and, solving problems. So what are you most proud of? Let's see, impacting lives of mentees positively. Yes, I'm so thankful you're doing that and that you've put this together. Okay, let's go on to the next one in terms of what have you done? What are the three most interesting things you've ever done or that have happened to you? And I'll give you a couple examples. I had 3 10-pound babies. I have 3 boys, but they were all 10-pounders. So that's an interesting thing. That's like a conversation starter. Another example of that is I have driven across country by myself with my 3 kids 3 times. So some people are like, oh my God, you're nuts. How did you even do that? How did you survive? I'm a planner. Um, Another example, this one is not job related. I built a calm and peaceful household after getting divorced. And that is one of the most, I actually consider that a career success, but that is one I include in here because it's how many people can say that. So take a minute. What are the 3 most interesting things you've ever done or that have happened to you? I'll give you one last one. I auditioned for the San Francisco Symphony when I was 19. They had an opening for trombone, and that's what I play, and that's what I auditioned for. So that's one I use. These can be conversation starters. These can be I left my job in France in insurance and moved to Ireland as an au pair when I was 37. Yeah, big change right there. You had the fortitude and you had the persistence to do that change and to make it happen. Really proud of you for that. Trendy TikTok challenge. Yeah, all kinds of different things, right? I love this question because people who speak multiple languages, this is always an interesting thing you should talk about. So these can be conversation starters because these can be boosters when you're like, oh, I do know something. I do have some good skills. So the answers to these questions, the personality pluses, and then what have you done, are really just meant to get you out of that state of mind when imposter syndrome is striking or you feel like you're experiencing it. Let's talk about how do you remember your value? So the 2 questions we just answered and the exercises we did, the truncated exercises we did, those are really meant to really help you understand your value. So remembering your value, so understanding and now remembering, this is what I like. Track your accomplishments on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, because I can hardly remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, let alone what I did last week from a work accomplishment. So I like to track accomplishments, and I do personal and professional because sometimes going to get the mail and opening it and not leaving it on the counter for 2 weeks is a success. So that's why I like to track the personal accomplishments and the professional ones. The other thing I think is really, really helpful is to collect those positive experiences. So when someone says, oh, I loved working with you on such and such a project, or I really enjoyed what we did, last week at the presentation you gave, whatever, when you get those positive experiences and feedback, keep track of that. And I call it a kudos file or testimonials in my case when I do workshops and things. But collect those because sometimes you are feeling like I can't do anything right, and you need to look at those to remind yourself to remember your value and what you've contributed. So that's one thing. So let's take a deeper look into both of these things. So I like to be able to do this, like I said, daily, weekly, quarterly. I have a notebook, like actual physical notebook, where I can summarize at the end of the week, big and small, personal, professional, whatever those accomplishments are for you. And it may be that you made it through your email. I didn't get to inbox to zero, but I made it through my email. I've just spent 3 weeks in Hawaii. And let me tell you, email and all those things back up, and I'm still not recovered. I've done 2 out of my 4 accounts. So that is an accomplishment so far, is to have made it through my email on those accounts. But those tracking mechanisms give you something to go back and look to. So when imposter syndrome strikes and you feel like you're experiencing it or you're having trouble getting started, you're feeling that overwhelm Olivia mentioned, I can look back and see my accomplishments. I can just go back to last week's entry in my notebook and see, oh, I did do these things. The next thing it enables you to do is celebrate those things. So that company, Catafora, that I mentioned in terms of selling at Ernst& Young in 2011, one of the things I learned as an executive at that company was we celebrated our milestones. We got champagne and we got a cake from Safeway with really lovely whipped cream and strawberries in it. And we went in the conference room and we celebrated and laughed for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour about our accomplishment. We did it when we had $1 million in revenue. We did it when we got our first patent issued. We got it when we sold a deal to American Express. Every little milestone like that, celebrate it. Even if it's something like, I bought a set of luggage when I was in Hawaii. It was something I'd been looking forward to, and I had worn my luggage out over the last 6 years. And I only take a carry-on. So I needed to find something that was robust. And while we were there, I ran into a store and I found a bag that kind of met 90% of my requirements. And so I bought it. And I was like, instead of worrying about spending so much money, I should celebrate that I finally found something that met my needs. It seems like a funny little, like not even an accomplishment, but it is because it helps me do my job better. So celebrating that, celebrating the closure of a deal, celebrating the marketing campaign that went out the door without any flaws in it, all of those things. And then the benefit of this is you build stronger connections, not just between you and the accomplishment, between you and your colleagues, you and people that you're collaborating with, because you have that shared experience of celebrating now. So I think it's really important not just to track things, but to actually celebrate them. Okay. So what is next? Collecting your positive experiences. Remember, I mentioned the kudos file. I think this is really important because I forget the appreciations that people tell me. I'm so much more, as the perfectionist, apt to concentrate on the negative and fixing the negative as opposed to celebrating the positive. So that kudos file allows me to celebrate the positive, accept it and read it and go back to it when I need to. So the other part of this is when you have a kudos file, it allows you to accept and receive the compliments and to say thank you. Don't make excuses, just say thank you. I appreciate your feedback. I'm so glad. I look forward to working with you in the future. Next, stop the comparisonitis. Don't compare yourself to anybody else's yardstick. Compare yourself to your own yardstick and your own measure of success. The book that I'm working on writing right now, which is the third in the series, is Set Yourself Up for Success. So comparisonitis is one of those killers to success. So you need to define success, what it means for you, and only compare yourself to whether you are meeting your own definition of success. Next, opportunity to grow. Treat failure or treat mistakes as an opportunity to grow. What can I learn from this? What do I need to know? What do I need to do differently next time? And that allows you to step outside your comfort zone and really take on those things that will get you to that next level, that will lead you to that promotion and raise, that will lead you to more skills and different skills. compare yourself to your own yardstick and whatever your definition of success is, and don't look at others. You can look to others as a role model in terms of, oh, I would like that too. What do I need to do to earn that, to meet that, to reach that level of success? Ask them how they did it. I have a friend who builds inside sales teams, and she's an amazing resource for other people who want to build successful inside sales teams. It's all about relationships. So Amy is a really great role model to build that and to exploit those skills. Look around, talk to people, do informational interviews to be able to find out how they did it. Mindset change. So what happens when you get into that negative Nelly space and that imposter syndrome is creeping in? The awareness that we talked about already, where you experience it, when, how do you feel, all that awareness, that's the first step. Once you're aware that it's happening and that you're experiencing and that you're like, this again, oh, I can change that inner dialogue. I can take a moment. I can quiet that inner critic. I can be my own best friend. I can say things to myself that I would say to my best friend. I don't want to say those negative things I would never say to my best friend. I want to keep it on the positive side. I want to take a minute and be mindful. And I may need to actually sit and meditate and say, what is happening right now that is leading me to experience imposter syndrome right now? What is actually happening? Oh, I just took on a new project. Oh, I just agreed to write another article. It's got a deadline on Friday. Why did I do that? Oh, because I like the finished product. I like writing when it's done. I don't like it before it's done. So you know the situation. So you can be a little mindful and you can meditate and say, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know how to write this article. I wouldn't have agreed to do it if I didn't know what I was doing. You want to recognize what's going on and then let it go. Okay, let it go. Take a deep breath, breathe it out, let it go. So, whatever works for you here is what you're going to need to do. So, I know exercise, physical exercise outside is what helps me change my mindset. So, I know that I'm going to be like, if that's happening, if those doubts are creeping in, I know I need to take a walk outside or something. Even if it's 5 minutes to the mailbox and back, that's what I know I need to do. So awareness, changing that inner dialogue, and then recognizing, oh, I can influence this, I can change this. I want you to realize that you are not alone. The only way we can stop feeling like it is to stop thinking that way. So stop thinking that we're imposter. Talk about it with others. So this group that Liesl has brought us together in, the mentoring club, excellent place to do this. Matching yourself with a mentor, brilliant way to discuss this. Talk about how did you overcome it? Talk about your value with the other person. How do you articulate it? All of those things, finding other professionals, finding other colleagues, other girlfriends, other people you went to school with, finding those resources to be able to talk to one or two people. You don't have to talk to a dozen, just talk to one or two people. But having that resource and realizing you're not alone, super helpful to be able to change how you react when imposter syndrome happens. You can join a mastermind group. You can ask for help. You can get coaching. There's so many other ways to address it. You don't have to be alone in this area. I want you to grab your phone because I got a QR code. We have time for questions if I haven't addressed things yet. So let's go to this. So I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I have a little gift for you all. You can download my book, What's Next for My Career, for free. So just take a picture of this QR code or write down the URL. You can go to my website. If you find that, working through anything we chatted about today, there's exercises in that book, as well as the other one, but you can contact me, you can email me, you can ask for me as a mentor through the mentoring club, all of those things to get yourself help. Okay, so let's see. Let's chat about benchmarks. So Ian mentioned benchmarks. Yes. Okay. So one of my top 5 strengths using strengths finders is competition, competitive. I know for me that having that benchmark, having that number to work towards, having that hard deadline, having someone to beat, that is one of the motivators for me. So I think that's really, really important to know about yourself if that's one of the ways. Um, let's see. I really want to thank Liesl for having me. I'm super excited to share all this information with you. Like I said, if you are interested in going deeper, the workshops in June are available, and we have 3 hours together, 1 hour a day for June, I think 3, 4, 5, to be able to go more in depth in all of these exercises and other exercises I didn't mention today. So if you feel like you don't do a good job of articulating or understanding your value and then being able to share it with others, that is the workshop for you. This QR code is a link to my Linktree entries, and it's got links to all my different podcasts. It's got links to the different courses, online courses. I have one for each book. All the things that you need. So grab a picture of that, and we'll go from there. And I'm going to stop sharing my slides now, and I'm going to turn it back over to you, Shilpa. And then if I didn't answer any questions, we can answer those. Olga mentioned success stories inventory. Yes. That's why I like to list out those career successes. And what I find interesting is that when I do this and give this workshop multiple times, I do these exercises alongside you. I always am thinking of different success stories throughout my career. And it's really interesting that it's like an excavation. Like you have to really dig deep for some of those successes that we may have forgotten or didn't consider a success. And I don't mean like it was a failure. I just mean we didn't consider it as a success, because I think for the first 8 years of my job as a lawyer, I was like, I'm just doing my job. Like the database that I mentioned, putting a database in place every place I've ever worked, I didn't consider that a success. I considered that just doing my job. So that's another way to look at it as well. Okay, Shilpa, I'm turning back over to you.
Thank you, everyone, for that insightful discussion. I believe we have covered all the questions within the time we have for this session. Any final 30-second thoughts from yourself, Sonya?
I want to say thank you for everyone to be here and do this work. And thank you, Liesl, for having me. And if you do anything today, if you walk away from this, think about what you consider success for you and how you can set yourself apart in describing that to others.
And thank you, Sonya.
You're welcome.
Before we wrap up, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our incredible workshop leader, Sonya Sigler. Your insights and expertise have truly made this session valuable and inspiring. We appreciate the time and effort you've dedicated to sharing your knowledge with us today. Let's all give a virtual round of applause to Sonya, if we could, please. We value your feedback. Complete the session surveys to help us improve and continue delivering impactful events. As a thank you, you'll receive 1 month of free mentee subscription to the Mentoring Club for every session survey completed. For example, 6 completed surveys equals 6 months free. A discount code will be sent to you a few days after the event. You can use it for yourself or gift it. Plus, the first 10 respondents will receive exclusive giveaways, including the Mentoring Club t-shirts, headwear, and caps. Please note shipping limitations may apply to Oceania, Africa, and Asia due to higher costs. Thank you for helping us make a difference. If you're ready to dive deeper into leadership development, join our premium workshops for in-depth, multi-session learning experiences over the coming months. These workshops build on today's workshop's insights and are designed to help you grow as a leader. Scan the QR code to learn more. When you sign up today, you get a 25% discount using the promo code LFS2025-WKP. Loving today's session? Take the next step. Become a mentor or mentee. Scan the QR code to join the Mentoring Club and make a lasting impact. Get the VIP pass for on-demand access to all event recordings after the summit. It's perfect for rewatching your favorite sessions or catching the ones you missed. We are offering the VIP pass for $13 for 13 sessions. To celebrate our 9th year anniversary with you, we are extending a 9% discount when you subscribe to the VIP pass today. Simply scan the QR code. Please join us for the next session, which is a panel discussion, Leadership in Entrepreneurship, the Challenges, Choices, and Triumphs. In the meantime, feel free to connect with fellow attendees, share your thoughts, and engage with one another in the chat. This is a fantastic opportunity to expand your network and exchange ideas with like-minded individuals from around the world. In just a moment, we will play a special video introduction about the Mentoring Club, TMC. This video will provide you with an understanding of TMC's vision, mission, core values, and insights from our mentees, mentors, volunteers, donors, and supporters. I'll remain here as your host, so if you have any questions or need assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. Let's make the most of this time to connect and learn more about the amazing work TMC is doing.
With Emily, Lizelle assigned me to watch her video first on YouTube. And after watching it, I learned so much from it and immediately knew I wanted her to be my mentor. I listened to her story, got inspired more, and wanted to learn the EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. On our first session, I told Emily that J. Paul and I are creatives and management discipline is one of our biggest challenges. So she gave me EOS materials for me to work on so I can learn and apply. And I shared also with her that we are preparing our pitch deck to a valued client and needed help on how we could improve on it. Both mentorships helped us close that pitch with our valued client, and we opened 2 new businesses this year. Yes, mentoring really matters.
In 1998, an epiphany led me to the goal of transitioning my career from the Philippines to Silicon Valley. 2 years later, I met with people in the Valley to find a job. The dot-com bubble was bursting. I didn't get a job, but I met over 150 people. In 2002, 3 of my contacts hired me. I joined their internet consulting company. 8 years later, I became Chief Operating Officer and part owner, then exited in 2020 to focus on the Mentoring Club, my Give Back Passion project. The Mentoring Club connects working people to accomplished leaders for leadership development mentoring. With a growing community of hundreds of mentors, mentees, volunteers, donors, and partners globally, we are changing the world one leader at a time.
What is my vision for the Mentoring Club? When I started the Mentoring Club in 2016, I declared that our mission is to provide a mentoring community for young leaders. When we launched, not only young leaders signed up, mid-career people and advanced career people signed up. And so we evolved our mission to provide a mentoring community for aspiring and seasoned leaders, where seasoned leaders refer to both the mentors and the mentees. Today, anywhere in the world, we help working people find mentors who can guide them to develop the skills they need to achieve their career and life goals. We help mentees fulfill their goals through meaningful work that creates positive impact in the world. We believe that when we're doing meaningful work, that's when the leaders in us come out because we care about the results. And when we care about the results, then that is how we can make a positive impact in the world. Ultimately, my vision is that as mentees become successful leaders, my dream is for them to become mentors to others. And that's how the cycle of giving back can continue, hopefully without end, hopefully even long after I'm gone. One of the ways we attract people into the Mentoring Club is to share our leadership core values. Our anchor values are trust, leadership, and community. Under trust, we believe that integrity, honesty, and commitment are what make us trustworthy as individuals and professionals. Under leadership, we believe that health, vision, and execution are all needed to be successful leaders. One without the others pretty much leads to nothing. We have to have all of them. And It is understandable that not all of us will be great at both visioning and execution. So if you're great at visioning, find somebody to help you execute. And if you're great at execution, find somebody whose vision you can support and help execute. That way, both of you can become successful leaders. And the last anchor value, community. Under community, we believe that humanity, contentment, family are the social grounding forces that make us feel fulfilled and happy. At the end of the day, even though we're successful as leaders, if we don't have anybody to share that success with, then it will be a lonely success. And so we encourage everybody to think about their values. And if those values align with ours, then this may be just the right community to be a part of.
What is the mystery to life? It's fulfillment. Feelings come and go. Values kind of get you through the pain. They get you through the good times. They get you through a lot of things, but they are a higher level of consciousness and meaning.
My name is Ed Stanley. I'm one of the mentors here at the Mentoring Club. Today I want to speak to you about values. And for me, this is a very important topic. For me, my main core value is being authentic. This allows me to step into who I really am, be present, and really achieve what I want to achieve out of life. It helps me to become the best version of myself. I still realize the best is yet to come, but with this value, it allows me to step into being authentic, being present, as I mentioned, but being there for myself. It's allowing me to set boundaries. It's allowing me to understand what I really want to work at, who I really want to work with. And this has really helped me to grow and develop as an individual. So I invite you to step into your values and look into how they can help and shape your journey in the coming years.
Hi, my name is Daria Tahiri and I am the Program Manager for the LeadForward Summit 2025 with the Mentoring Club. One of my core values that I would like to talk today about is don't take things personally. Many years ago, I adopted this from the book of 4 Agreements by Dr. Miguel Ruiz. By practicing this, I feel that I'm empowered. My energy can be spent in more important areas rather than thinking why the person said that way or why he or she acted this way. Another agreement says, ask questions, don't make any assumptions. The combination of these both values helped me tremendously go through life. It's a hard practice. I might not be able to be successful every day, but at least I'm conscious about it and I am practicing it every day and I get better at it every day. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nadia Rohina. I am the mentee and the volunteer at the Mentoring Club. I'd like to talk about honesty. I think this is truly core value. And even though I didn't appreciate it right away, I came to learn that without honesty, there is no clear vision, there is no integrity, there is no learning. Okay, I started with some level of illusions about how life works and who am I. And it took me a while to start learning in more details. And further I progress, further I needed that honesty to accept some limitations that I have, to accept some limitations other people have. Honesty is something that helps to discern what do you do, why do you do, how do you do. Everything only works when we are honest. And I'd like to hear more stories about that and hope you have a good one.